Picture a world where every choice you think you make has already been made for you. The phone in your pocket, the fuel in your car, the medicine in your cabinet, the news you consume, the products you purchase. You believe you possess freedom. You believe you hold options. But what if I told you this freedom is an elaborate illusion? What if I revealed that 150 years ago, a single man designed a system so powerful, so invisible, so perfectly constructed that it controls the breath you take in this modern economy? This man did not simply accumulate wealth. He engineered domination. He architected the very blueprint that today's billionaires study like sacred scripture. Jeff Bezos follows his playbook. Elon Musk understands his methods. Every titan of industry genuflects at the altar of his strategy. His wealth, adjusted for today's currency, would make Musk and Bezos combined appear as common beggars. His name was John D. Rockefeller. This is not a history lesson. History lessons are for schoolchildren and those content with surface knowledge. This is a dissection of power itself. I will show you the exact blueprint, the precise formula, the weapons he forged that billionaires still deploy against you this very moment. If you lack the stomach for uncomfortable truths, leave now. Close this video and return to your comfortable delusions. But if you wish to see the cage around you stay, let us begin. Chapter 1. The Origin, the Devil and the Angel. Every emperor carries within him the shadows of his childhood. John D. Rockefeller entered this world in 1839, born not with silver advantages, but with something far more dangerous. Contradiction in his blood. His father, William Avery Rockefeller, known throughout the countryside as Big Bill, operated as a fraud of the highest order. A confidence man, a traveling deceiver who moved village to village selling false remedies to desperate souls. He would announce to crowds that he possessed the cure for cancer, the remedy for every ailment. Then he would sell them bottles of crude oil mixed with whiskey, collect their money, and vanish into the night. This man would disappear for months, abandoning his family, only to return with pockets stuffed with currency earned through deception. But standing opposite this darkness was Eliza, the mother, a woman of severe religious discipline, a pillar of order, routine, and absolute self-control. On one side, the father's cunning and treachery. On the other, the mother's discipline and conviction. From this volatile mixture emerged John D. Rockefeller. There exists one story that reveals everything you need to understand about this man's psychology. When John was merely a boy, his father Big Bill stood him upon a high chair. The father spread his arms wide, smiled warmly, and spoke with false tenderness. "Jump, son, I will catch you. Trust me." The child hesitated. Fear gripped him. But his father's arms remained open, his smile reassuring. The boy leaped. And in that moment of flight, Big Bill withdrew his arms completely. The child crashed to the floor. Pain shot through his small body. Tears formed in his eyes. His father crouched down, seized the boy's face, looked directly into his eyes, and delivered words that would echo through decades. Remember this lesson for the rest of your life. Trust no one, not even me. Consider what such a moment does to a young mind. That day, that child made a silent covenant with himself. He would never again reveal his emotions. He would never again place faith in another human being. He would control life itself so that life could never control him. This explains why those who encountered Rockefeller in business meetings spoke of a man whose face betrayed nothing, a man who sat in absolute silence while others spoke, a man who listened calculated, and revealed nothing of his intentions. His contemporaries found him terrifying not because he raged or threatened. They found him terrifying because he was utterly unreadable. Cold, calculating, a fortress of silence. Chapter 2. The opportunity, chaos versus order. The year was 1859. Beneath the soil of Pennsylvania, America discovered black gold, oil. Madness erupted across the nation. Men abandoned their trades, seized shovels and pickaxes, and rushed toward the oil fields with dreams of instant fortune. This was the oil rush, identical to the gold rush before it, identical to the crypto rush of recent years, identical to every frenzy where men believe wealth lies in chasing what everyone else chases. Thousands drilled. Some struck oil and became wealthy overnight. Others found only dry earth and descended into poverty. Prices swung wildly. 1 week, oil sold for fortunes. The next week, oversupply crashed the market. Total chaos, pure disorder. But the 20-year-old John Rockefeller, working as an accountant in Cleveland, refused to join the stampede. He observed, he calculated, he identified what the masses could not see. The drillers faced pure gambling. Sometimes oil flowed. Sometimes nothing emerged. The risk was enormous. But whoever refined that oil into kerosene, whoever processed the crude into usable product, that man faced no gambling whatsoever. Because regardless of who pulled oil from the earth, it required refining before anyone could use it. In that era, electricity had not yet illuminated homes. When darkness fell, the world relied upon kerosene lamps. Every household required kerosene to push back the night. Rockefeller recognized this truth with perfect clarity. Let fools dig holes in the ground. I will process what they dig. In 1863, he established his first refinery. But Cleveland already contained 30 refineries competing for the same market. Profit margins were thin. Competition was fierce. This is where ordinary men would have accepted modest success and called it sufficient. But Rockefeller was not ordinary. He was about to deploy 2 weapons that would revolutionize business forever. Chapter 3. The strategy. The blueprint of domination. Listen with absolute attention. What follows is the exact methodology that Amazon, Google, and every dominant corporation employs today. The first weapon, vertical integration. Own everything. Consider how normal businesses operate. A merchant requires supplies from various sources. A barrel maker provides barrels. A transportation company provides shipping. A warehouse owner provides storage. Each entity extracts its profit, and the merchant pays premium after premium. Rockefeller examined his costs and discovered he paid $2.50 for every barrel his refinery used. His response was not negotiation. It was elimination of dependency. He purchased his own forests. He hired his own lumberjacks. He manufactured his own barrels. New cost per barrel, 96 cents. He did not stop there. He acquired his own wagons, his own warehouses, his own pipelines, his own railroad cars. Where his competitors bled money at every stage of their supply chain, Rockefeller retained control at every stage of his. This is vertical integration, ownership of the entire process from raw material to final customer. Examine Amazon through this lens. They do not merely sell products. They own the warehouses. They operate the delivery trucks. They built the cloud servers. They created the streaming service. They manufactured the reading device. When you control the entire chain, your costs become so low that competitors cannot match your prices. They simply cannot survive against you. The second weapon, the Cleveland Massacre. Annihilate the competition. Once Rockefeller achieved superior cost efficiency, He initiated his true assault. In 1872, he approached every refinery owner in Cleveland with an offer that contained no room for negotiation. "My costs stand at half of yours. You cannot compete against me. Sell me your refinery. I will pay you fair value and grant you shares in my company. Refuse, and I will destroy you." Those who refused discovered Rockefeller's merciless strategy. He would slash prices in their specific territory so drastically that they operated at devastating losses. They could not sustain such losses. Rockefeller could. His pockets ran deeper. His costs ran lower. He could bleed money for months, while they hemorrhaged into bankruptcy. The result struck with terrifying speed. Within 3 months, 22 of Cleveland's 26 refineries belonged to Rockefeller. History named this period the Cleveland Massacre. Consider how Uber entered new cities. Free rides, massive discounts, prices so low that traditional taxi companies collapsed. Local competitors vanished. Consider how Amazon operated for years without profit, pricing products below sustainable levels, driving bookstores and retailers into extinction. This is Rockefeller's playbook, executed with modern technology, but identical strategy. Priced so aggressively that competition suffocates. Accept temporary losses to achieve permanent dominance. Chapter 4. The Monopoly and the Trust. Invisible Control. By 1880, John D. Rockefeller controlled 90% of all oil refined in America. Contemplate that number. Of every 100 lamps burning in American homes, 90 contained Rockefeller's kerosene. This transcended business. This was monopoly, singular rule, absolute dominion. The public grew hostile. Newspapers published cartoons depicting Rockefeller as a monstrous octopus, his tentacles strangling railroads, banks, politicians, and common citizens. Pressure mounted upon the government to restrain this titan. Laws of that era prohibited companies from one state owning companies in another state. This should have constrained Rockefeller's expansion, but Rockefeller summoned his lawyers and issued a command. "Find me a solution." They engineered a structure never before conceived: the trust. Rather than directly owning companies across state lines, Rockefeller placed their shares into a trust controlled by 9 trustees. These trustees, Rockefeller's chosen men, directed every company as though they were one unified empire, while legally claiming they owned nothing directly. This invention birthed the modern holding company. Alphabet exists as a holding company controlling Google, YouTube, and numerous other entities. Meta exists as a holding company controlling Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. Berkshire Hathaway exists as Warren Buffett's holding company controlling dozens of corporations. Rockefeller invented this architecture. He constructed the legal machinery that allows today's billionaires to build empires while maintaining legal deniability. When questioned about his power, Rockefeller would respond with calculated innocence. "I own nothing. The trust manages everything." But the reality remained clear to all who dared to look. One man now held more power than most governments. Chapter 5. The Psychology of a Tyrant. The mind behind the machine. Now we descend into the psychology of this man. Did guilt trouble his sleep? Did conscience whisper protests as he crushed competitors and absorbed their enterprises? The answer reveals something disturbing about power itself. Rockefeller believed, with absolute conviction, that he performed God's work upon the earth. His philosophy crystallized into a phrase he repeated throughout his life. "Competition is sin," he reasoned thus. "When 10 men perform the same work, resources scatter inefficiently. Duplication creates waste. But when one great organization performs all work, efficiency emerges, prices decrease. Society benefits, and the data supported his belief. When Rockefeller entered the kerosene business, prices stood at 26 cents per gallon. After he achieved monopoly, prices fell to 8 cents. He delivered cheaper product to consumers. But the cost of that cheap product was freedom itself, choice itself, the very concept of alternatives. Yet this power exacted its toll upon the wielder. By his 50s, stress had consumed Rockefeller's body. Every hair upon his head fell away. His eyebrows vanished. His body rejected food. The wealthiest man on earth survived on milk and crackers, because his stomach could process nothing else. He slept with a loaded pistol beside his bed, convinced that enemies would come for him in the darkness. Wealth beyond imagination, power beyond measure, and no peace whatsoever. This is the price of empire. Remember it. Chapter 6. The Breakup. How he triumphed through defeat. The year 1911 delivered what appeared to be Rockefeller's destruction. The Supreme Court of the United States ruled that Standard Oil constituted an illegal monopoly. It had annihilated competition. It had violated the principles of free markets. The court ordered Standard Oil dissolved into 34 separate companies. America celebrated. The newspapers declared victory. The monster had been slain. But observe what actually transpired. Rockefeller held major shareholding positions in all 34 new companies. When the single monopoly became 34 independent entities, the stock market valued these fresh companies with tremendous enthusiasm. Investors rushed to purchase shares. The value of Rockefeller's holdings did not diminish. It tripled. After the breakup designed to reduce his power, Rockefeller became the world's first billionaire in actual dollars. He reportedly told his golf companion that afternoon, "Once again God has blessed us. Here lies wisdom that most observers miss entirely. The wealthy do not fear the system breaking. They designed the system. When it breaks, they simply restructure and emerge stronger." Those 34 companies eventually consolidated once more through mergers and acquisitions. Exxon and Mobil reunited as ExxonMobil. The supposed breakup merely created temporary fragmentation that reformed into familiar concentrations of power. The Hydra loses one head and grows two more. Chapter 7. The Final Mask. Philanthropy as strategy. In his final decades, Rockefeller confronted a public relations crisis of enormous magnitude. The population despised him. His name evoked images of ruthless monopoly and crushed competition. His advisors proposed a solution: give money away, publicly, visibly, generously. The Rockefeller Foundation emerged. Universities received millions. Medical research received millions. Churches received millions. The transformation stunned observers. The villain became the benefactor. The monopolist became the philanthropist. But examine this charity through strategic lenses. Donations to foundations escape taxation. Wealth preserved. Foundations that fund universities influence what those universities teach. Control of ideas achieved. Foundations that fund medical research influence what kind of medicine develops. The pharmaceutical industry, built upon petroleum-derived chemicals, received tremendous support from Rockefeller funding. This is not conspiracy theory. This is documented history. The Rockefeller Foundation shaped modern medical education in America, emphasizing pharmaceutical approaches that aligned with Standard Oil's chemical production capabilities. When you fund the institutions that train doctors, you influence how medicine functions for generations. Observe today's billionaires and recognize the identical pattern. Bill Gates operates the Gates Foundation, influencing global health policy, agricultural policy, and educational standards worldwide. Mark Zuckerberg operates the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative, shaping education and science funding. Jeff Bezos makes headlines with charitable donations that generate more positive publicity than traditional advertising could ever purchase. Rockefeller invented this playbook: transform from villain to saint, convert tax liability into social control, achieve influence that raw commerce could never provide. The final mask, and the most effective one. Chapter 8. The Matrix Today. The system surrounds you. John D. Rockefeller died in 1937 at 97 years of age. But the system he constructed did not die with him. It evolved, it expanded, it perfected itself. Examine your world through the lens I have provided you. Technology. 2 or 3 companies control your access to information. Google dominates search. Meta dominates social connection. Apple and Google together control the devices in your pocket. Retail. Amazon crushes local competition using the exact Cleveland massacre strategy. Temporary losses to achieve permanent dominance. Transportation. Uber and Lyft eliminated taxi competition through predatory pricing, then raised prices once alternatives vanished. Finance. A handful of banks control the majority of deposits. A handful of funds control the majority of investments. The names change. The corporate structures evolve. But the blueprint remains identical to what Rockefeller drew 150 years ago. Vertical integration. Own every link in the chain. Predatory pricing. Bleed competitors until they collapse. Trust structures. Control everything while appearing to own nothing. Philanthropy. Convert villainy into sainthood through strategic giving. Rockefeller himself articulated his vision with chilling clarity. I do not want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers. So where does this knowledge leave you? Can you fight this system? Unlikely. The resources arrayed against you dwarf any individual resistance. Can you escape this system? Impossible. You cannot abandon your phone. You cannot avoid petroleum products. You cannot exit the economic structures that surround every transaction. But you can achieve something that most never accomplish. You can understand the system, and understanding transforms you from unconscious battery to aware participant. First, if these corporations generate profit through monopolistic structures, own their shares. Let their growth benefit your accounts. Do not remain merely their customer. Become their investor. Second, recognize the trap of free services. When products cost nothing, you are the product, your data, your attention, your behavior. These constitute the true payment. Third, pursue financial discipline with religious dedication. Rockefeller kept meticulous accounts of every penny from childhood. He knew where each cent traveled. Most people today cannot describe where their money disappears each month. Rockefeller was neither hero nor villain in any simple sense. He was an architect. He drew the blueprints of the world we now inhabit. The question that remains is whether you will wander lost through his structure, or whether you will see the walls around you and navigate with full awareness. The lion does not announce its presence with constant roaring. The king does not explain his movements to peasants. The wise observe, calculate, position themselves, and move only when advantage becomes certain. You have now seen what most refuse to examine. The blueprint lies exposed before you. What you construct with this knowledge determines everything that follows. If this video stripped away comfortable illusions and revealed machinery you had not previously perceived, Write one word in the comments below. Architect. I will not request subscriptions. Those who recognize value act without prompting. Those who understood will share this knowledge. Those who did not will return to their comfortable blindness. The choice declares itself. Until next time, remain watchful. The game never stops. The players never rest. And the blueprint continues to operate, whether you acknowledge it or not.